Lawson, they're looking for a turnover first before a foul. Schroeder got it ahead to Mobley, out of bounds. Big call, Raptors ball. It's a game 7, down 1. Barnes on the move, toss out, Barrett 3, off the heel. Can you believe it?
What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the All Things Basketball Podcast. I'm your host, Vic Lopez, as always. And that shot by RJ Barrett last night was what felt like the Raptors winning this game for the third time. This team, it felt like they had to win this game 2 to 3 times because of how much of an absolute grind of not only a series, but just this game alone from the Raptors. It is just unbelievable to see the level of defense that this Raptors team has to play on a nightly basis to cover their tracks for how cold they can go on offense, and these stretches where shots are just being missed so often and the looks are so good for the Raptors, and sometimes it just feels like there's no way that the Raptors are going to be able to take a win and just kind of walk away happy because of just how rough things look sometimes on offense, and it just how easy it looks sometimes for the Cavs when, you know, they're playing the best defense in the world, and I'm talking about the Raptors. They do everything right, and then a contested shot is made from the Cavs. But you know what? In this game, and what has pushed this series to 7 has not been the Cavs choking, right? Like, you can talk about that a little bit if you want, but that would be a disservice to the level of defense that the Toronto Raptors have been playing all series long. Even in some of the games that they kind of get like blown out a little bit, right? Where it just feels like they didn't have a chance. It's just the offense is what's rough with this team for the most part, because on the defensive end, man, I mean, I'm looking at shades of OKC with the level of defense that this team plays. It's just like you look at guys across the line, and what makes OKC a special team, other than the fact that they have the MVP, they have usually what is the second best player in a series, which is Jalen Williams when he's healthy. Chet Holmgren is up there, right? Like, they just have this insane trio. But what makes the Thunder special outside of that is the fact that they basically have more than 5 elite point of attack defenders. And the Raptors are not far off from that. They have Jamal Shed, who's going to guard people straight up, fight through screens, which I'll talk about in a second. They've got Scotty Barnes, who can guard anyone in the NBA. Unbelievable effort from that guy, just on and off the ball. Wherever he's at, it is a problem for the other team's offense. You got Colin Murray-Boyles, who is another version of Scotty Barnes at 19 years old, looking like the second best defender in this series as a rookie, by the way. Jakob Poeltl. I have done a couple of Raptors breakdown videos, a couple of pods for the Raptors, and I always kind of leave Jakob Poeltl off a little bit because I'm not as educated on this player. I know that his bones are on defense, right? Like, this is a guy that we know he has the versatility, he has the athleticism, he's got good lateral quickness, the wingspan is really nice, and just good size and all that good stuff. And you see the defensive stuff from him. He has won me over in this series. And by the way, he hasn't had a great series offensively speaking. These last couple of games, he has really come alive in terms of the scoring on offense, right? But it's when that side is showing up for Jakob Poeltl is when you really see the vision from the Raptors fans that try to tell me and try to tell other people how, special Jakob Poeltl could really be if he pans out for the Raptors. And I see it now. And I want to apologize if it ever felt like I kind of would leave him off in a lot of breakdowns. I just wasn't like, I didn't see a whole lot from him. And so, it was easy to kind of look him over, I guess, in a way. So, it is what it is. But man, like the level of defense that this guy has been playing is unbelievable. The fact that you can also throw Jakob Poeltl out there, and it really helps because there's no Quickly. There's now no Brandon Ingram, which it's just another unbelievable thing that these Raptors have been able to do. Know quickly this entire series, which is going to put some pressure on the ball handling responsibilities because now everyone moves up on the totem pole rotationally, right, with the ball handling stuff. And then they get hit with this no Brandon Ingram now, right? And I don't know if he's going to play in Game 7. I don't know if he's ruled out for the series or whatever the situation is with him. Now, Ingram has not had a great series. So I don't want to sit here and act like he's been killing it for them against the Cavs. He's been struggling, right? But nonetheless, you really need that kind of isolation scoring, that shot creation, another guy that can draw some fouls, get to the free throw line, make really tough shots. That's incredibly valuable. And then like the underrated part about Brandon Ingram that most people don't really talk about because he is a scorer, right, mainly, is the fact that that's another lanky guy that gets in passing lanes and kind of is able to get some deflections and make passes a little bit harder to make if he's the corner man that's tagging from the weak side and he can kind of contest those lobs. He really helps in those scenarios. And by the way, those are the kind of things that Jakob Poeltl is doing for the Raptors. And he's doing it at the point of attack. He's doing it in help. He's doing it on guys off the ball. He's just completely swallowing up these offensive players that are trying to break free, right, off of these off-ball screens. And Jakob Poeltl is just stuck to them like glue. He is all over them. And he is playing some unbelievable defense when his number is being called for that. His three ball is also falling a little bit more like later on towards this series, like as the series has gone on. And honestly, if this guy can actually get confident from out there and knock down like a little bit above league average, this is the guy that they're really banking on, in my opinion, because that makes the roster construction become a little simpler because, okay, cool, we already have this guy. It's not a guy we have to go out and look for in free agency, right? Or make a trade or do something crazy. Now they can look at other guys that they can move off from, right? And it's like when you're in a 7-game series and it looks incredibly competitive, it doesn't look like you've missed quickly. I mean, obviously you miss the additional ball handling and the shot creation and another rim pressure kind of guy that can put it down and get there, right? And also like make some plays and just, he is a good scorer. I'm not the biggest fan of Quickly. I like him. I just think that he may be the odd man out when this team is looking for ways to improve because they're kind of solving a lot of problems without him and even without Ingram. And this is against a very potent offensive team in Cleveland. So watching the Raptors solve these issues without two starters in their lineup, it sends off a signal to me and says, hey, maybe we can find homes for these two guys and bring in players that make more sense on this roster. Even though, look, I have been the Brandon Ingram supporter all season long. I have been a guy that has loved what Brandon Ingram has brought to this team. But I have to be honest, and I have to actually, look at him for what he is. And look, he's another guy that doesn't exactly space the floor all that well, right? Even though, like, he can make those threes, he can space the floor, he is a little bit of a black hole sometimes. And he takes a lot of tough shots. Right? And where he kind of fits in this whole scheme, that's what makes it hard for Murray Boyles to kind of make some sense if you want to start him. Because it's like Murray Boyles at the moment is a non-shooter. Ingram is a guy that you're going to go under on the high screens if it's at the three-point line, right? And you're going to worry about him more inside, right? Like mid-range and in. And Scotty Barnes, same thing. RJ Barrett, you could probably argue same thing. And so all of a sudden, you can't start all these guys. I mean, you can because defensively, it's a lot of wingspan and switchable, versatility type of thing. But I start to look at kind of like where this could go in the offseason. And that's looking like the name for me. Like Ingram could be the guy they decide to move in the offseason. Quickly might be another person that they take a hard look at and think, maybe we're all right and we can kind of solve some things, Make no mistake, like everyone has been so important to this awesome season the Raptors have had. And I think I spent a lot of time kind of rambling about that. So look, as I was going through the defensive stuff, I talked about Jamal Shed, Scotty Barnes, Murray Boyles, who's just an unbelievable defender, does everything. Jakob Poeltl, talked about him. And RJ Barrett plays incredibly hard. Like I don't think he's very good at guarding the point of attack if it's like a really like quick shifty kind of guard that's just like going to beat him with the foot speed. I do think that RJ Barrett shows a ton of effort, and because he's strong and has good size, he can actually guard like the bigger wings and, even some forwards and things like that, and he can really hold his ground. So it's just like I said, like in terms of comparing them to the Thunder, it's not so much exactly the personnel play style, because the Thunder have a ton of shooters that can play defense, right? It's like a little bit different here. But what I mean is, man, there are a lot of guys that solve a lot of problems on the defensive end. They have got a good group of guys that can really hold their own defensively. And not a lot of teams have so many defenders like this. And that's what makes the Raptors so special. And I got to shout out Jakob Poeltl, a guy that I have criticized a decent amount. I think I've shown him enough respect to say that they need him. Like, as flawed as he is necessary to this team's success, at least this season, because he is their only real big man that helps them rebound and alter shots at the rim, right? And like box bigger players out and like kind of, fight for those boards and set screens, right? Like they don't really have that on this team. And so he is very important to them, even if he has all these flaws. And I think he's played really well. Like, he's not a guy that's going to put a bunch of points on the board, which is unfortunate. He's also not a guy that's going to guard well on the perimeter. But I think that as this series has progressed, he's looked solid. Like, he's actually been playable. And I don't know if you guys see it a different way, but I wanted to shout out Jakob Poeltl because I'm watching him here. He's contesting Jared Allen. He's contesting Evan Mobley. He is grabbing those boards or slapping them out, right? Like he is doing a decent job. I think he's doing better than a lot of people expected. Like, all series long, it felt like the conversation was always, when are they going to start Murray Boyles? When are they going to start Murray Boyles? And I think I even was like on that kind of boat, thinking like, how are they going to start him? But I know the double-edged sword that is starting Murray Boyles in Jakob Poeltl's slot, because during the regular season, when Jakob was out of the lineup, that's what they were banking on. It was Murray Boyles at the 5, believe it or not, as a rookie, and he did an awesome job at it, but that's not a sustainable 5-man lineup, right? Especially when you're going at, Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. It's just a big problem. Like, and Murray Boyles I have been so impressed with this guy. I've done a breakdown on him. I've talked a ton about him a couple of times on this pod. It's just, he gets these unbelievable blocks that you think there is no way in hell that he is going to get to these. And he gets to them. And, in those lineups where Jakob Poeltl isn't out there, it's like he gets that block and then Cleveland is just still able to get another chance at it. And that's the place where the Raptors need to plug in the offseason, right? They got to find that big man. Whether it's a starting big man that they can figure out or a backup big, I don't know what's going to happen. I would actually like to see them do some interesting moves, whether it's like Ingram or Quickly, where they can put some package together to either draft someone or, someone that they like at the 5, or like make a move for someone now that's in the league right now that can help them, right? Like, maybe like a Rob Williams would be really interesting on this team. I love him on the Portland Trailblazers. I think he's either an unrestricted free agent or a restricted free agent. Now, look, he is on the side of like, we got to worry about injuries and things like that. But a guy like Rob Williams really fits the mold on this team. This is a guy that he can knock down some threes, right? He's not an elite shooter, but he can make them. He's going to be a lob threat, which they don't really have on this team. He's going to protect the rim, and Rob Williams can really guard multiple positions. He can really move his feet. He can guard out on the perimeter. That's a big name that I'm looking at for the Raptors. I'd be very interested to see if there's any conversation regarding him. But, I feel like I'm talking a lot about just the Raptors offseason and things like that. This was an unbelievable game. I want to get into like one of the big moments, and that's when Jamal Shead is fighting over this Dean Wade screen to stay in James Harden's airspace, and they call the foul on Shead. That's his 6th foul. He fouls out. Darko Rajakovic calls the challenge. He wins the challenge. That was a hell of a challenge. It was probably what honestly helped save this game, because they need this guy out there. I know he's not going to score a ton of points. I know that he's not going to space the floor all that well, even though he has stretches where he can really knock down some shots. But the key to this guy is the defense, right? Like, just what he does 24/7 on the defensive end. People need to understand, like, you don't fight over screens only because of the fact that the guy is a good shooter. I've seen Jamal Shed do this against non-shooters. And the reason that a guy like Jamal Shed or Dyson Daniels or Tumani Kamara for the Portland Trail Blazers, these are all great screen navigators, like guys that can get through screens and still stay on the ball and contest at the point of attack. The reason they like to fight over screens is because they challenge the screener to set a proper and well-timed screen, because any mistake in that, they can over-exaggerate the hit when they're going over the screen, and a lot of times they're able to get that offensive foul, like the illegal screen call on that screener. And those are huge turnovers that are being drawn by the Tumani Kamaras of the league, the Dyson Daniels of the league, the Lou Dorts. Lou Dort is unbelievable at this. And I could probably do a whole pod about players that are able to do this on defense. And obviously Jamal Shed, just one of the best in the league at it. There's a stat somewhere out there. He's got to be somewhere at the top in the NBA of drawing those illegal screens. And that was just prime example of that, right? They get it overturned. They actually call the foul on Dean Wade, and then it's Raptors ball. And Jamal Shed gets to stay in the game, and they take away that sixth foul. That was a huge moment in the game. There are moments where James Harden, who he had an awful game offensively. This guy vanished. And to say that he vanished is, again, a disservice to the great defense that Scotty Barnes was playing, that Jamal Shed was playing, that Murray Boyles was playing. There were so many plays where Murray Boyles is on Harden and he wants no part of it. He is like, let's give it away. This is a great point of attack defender. Let's put some offense on the other side of the floor. Or he'll try to go at Murray Boyles, and Murray Boyles is just right there, contesting. He's not going to overjump. He's not going to get out of position. He's not going to get baited into fouls. Straight contest. If Harden makes it, slap him and just like, all right, good job, man. Just like give him a little shoulder tap or a little butt slap. You're good, dude. Like, you're just great offense. And Murray Boyles he plays with a poise and just with under control. He plays like a veteran. Call doesn't go his way. He's on the next play. I am such a fan of this guy, man. I feel like I talk about him more than anyone else on this team. And I do want to give a shout out to Scotty Barnes because this guy has leveled up. I think that he has really shown in this series and even this season, he has shown some real growth. Now, has it come in the form of that shooting from the outside? No, right? Like, good moments, good stretches. There's a lot of moments where he's making a lot of threes. We know that still hasn't come yet. Where he has really improved, in my opinion, is the consistency of aggression, right? Like, just that will to just, you know what? I know I want to make the right play. Sometimes it's not about the right play. It's about asserting dominance, like being aggressive, imposing your will on a game, even if it could look like a crazy possession or a sloppy situation where you're forcing some things. You want to put pressure on the defense. You don't want to say, here, Jamal Shed, take us home. Here, Ingram, you're an incredible isolation scorer. Here's the ball. I'm just going to get out of the way. No, you are a freight train. You are a bulldozing machine that gets to the basket whenever he wants. The free throw line, he can make free throws. That is something that I've been very consistent about with this Raptors team. They shot well from the free throw line last night, but it's a lot about the timing of the missed free throws with these guys. And actually, that reminds me, when Jamal Shed missed that free throw late in the game, like where he split him, I thought, my goodness, I really hope that the Raptors don't lose this game because of that missed free throw, because that would just completely erase. I mean, first of all, if they lose the game, obviously they get eliminated, and it's just an unbelievable sadness that just will consume the arena. And also me, because I love watching this team play. And, and I'm thinking, man, that would really erase the incredible defense and just winning play after winning play that Jamal Shed has done for this team throughout the series, throughout the season. And to see the Raptors be able to pull out a win despite that huge missed free throw, that was a loud miss. Like, you could feel the crowd just, oof. Like, oof, that might be game. That's how I felt. And that's how it really sounded in the arena. And Jamal Shed was really, really upset. He was really sad after missing that one because he knew, man, that could be our season right there. And watching RJ Barrett brick shot after shot after shot, and these are bad misses, bro. bad ones. And to see the last shot go to RJ Barrett, and I've just seen him brick over and over in this game, I'm thinking, oh man, that's it. Like that's ball game. And it hits the back iron. And we've seen those makes so much throughout the history of the NBA. Like we've seen misses. We've even missed like that at the park. I've missed shots. Well, not missed, but like made shots like that where you hit the back iron, it goes up, and then it just drops down. Like there's something about that angle that you just know when it goes straight up like that, you're just waiting for it to come back down because you know most of the time that thing is going to drop right through the net. And it's just different when that's the fate of the game. And the crowd when that shot went in. I mean, it's like, you know what's funny? It's like every time that Jamison Battle hits a three, this crowd loves Jamison Battle. This guy can really shoot the ball. When that guy makes his threes, it's like worth double at Scotiabank Arena. The fans love Jamison Battle. And like when he makes threes, like that's like kind of the, not to that extent, but you can tell the fans really get behind it when Jamison Battle's out there getting hot because he has had some unbelievable shooting games. Shout out to Jamison Battle. I'm kind of like jumping all over the place. I hope this isn't an annoying way to cover a game, but man, this game was just so fun to watch. To watch the Raptors just like come into this game and no Ingram still. And I'm wondering, like, is Scotty Barnes good because he hobbled at the end of that last one? And I'm thinking, well, this is over. Like, if Scotty's going to be hurt and they're also not going to have Ingram and obviously Quickly's still gone, this series is a wrap. Like, it's ending here in Toronto. And Barnes looks great, looks super comfortable. He was dominant. He has been incredible this series. I don't know what else to say. You know, I feel like I've covered pretty much everything I've had to cover other than the fact that the Raptors win this game. When you're looking at the rebounds here, like, man, every time the Cavs missed, it felt like the Cavs would get it back. And I just thought there's no way the Raptors are going to win this game right now. Like, there's a moment where the Cavs miss a shot. They grab the offensive rebound. They get another chance. Another offensive rebound. They get another chance. Offensive rebound. It is like when you're giving an elite offensive team this many tries in possession, like this many extra possessions, I don't know how you come out on top like that. It just speaks to the defense not giving up, the will to win, the persistence, the perseverance, the resilience, all those cool words that you could throw out for a team. The Raptors have earned the right to try to win this series on the road. You have to win a game on the road. It has to happen, and it has to happen in a Game 7 now. Can the Raptors do it? There is a immense amount of pressure on these Cleveland Cavaliers right now because I don't think most people, especially me, I don't think most people had this series going 7. I had it, I think, going 6 at most because I felt like, you know what? The games where the Cavs aren't shooting well and they're trending towards they don't care about defense, like throughout the regular season, that is a team that can absolutely take advantage of that. Because if they don't take care of the ball, the Raptors just turn those into points. The Raptors are going to play pressure defense. They're going to be elite at that end. They're going to really be physical. They're going to challenge this Cavs team. And they're not going to let you play pretty basketball. You're going to have to win these games in the mud, or you're going to have to be unbelievably skilled and score tough shot after tough shot. And we'll see if that's sustainable. James Harden, who people are always looking at when it comes to these moments, the Game 6 closeout that just happened last night where he's a no-show, essentially. You're going to look at the rebounds, the assists. I don't care about that. When his number was called to score the basketball, which is what he does best, he did not show up. He was locked up. And by the way, Donovan Mitchell did not have a good game either. He gets wherever he wants. He makes tough shots. Those are the shots, the tough ones that he's making. Those are the ones the Raptors are constantly forcing him into. And he has the ability to do it. The Cavs are going to be probably the biggest conversation if they get eliminated in this next game at home. Because the wave of Cavs non-believers, the Harden non-believers, the Donovan Mitchell non-believers, the Kenny Atkinson haters, the Cavs just haters in general, they are going to come for this team. They're probably going to come for me because it's another I told you so. And with the way Donovan Mitchell was talking after last season, where the fans are going to be down on us and we're just going to have to prove them wrong and they're going to see who we are. Yeah, guess what? You're in a game 7 now at home, already in a win or go home, stay home situation in the first round, which is not where Cleveland wants to be, because your opponent is luckily also in another game 7, but Cleveland is going to get out of this one banged up, like just after this tough series against the Raptors. And guess who's waiting for them on the other end right there, like in the second round? It's either going to be Orlando, who has turned this series completely on its back, and then obviously just completely folding against the Pistons last night. That was a horrific choke job by the Magic. They went 20 straight missed field goals in the fourth quarter. I think they scored 20 points in the second half, something crazy like that, to just completely fold at home. No Franz Wagner. It is what it is. I don't know if he's playing game 7. If he's not playing game 7, I just don't know how the Magic win at Detroit. I don't know how it happens. And so the point is, Cleveland is going to get out of this just muddy series if they win the series, and they're going to have to face another bunch of dogs in either Detroit or the Magic. The Cavs are going to have to prove it that they can get through the mud just already 2 series back-to-back, obviously if they get out of this one. So I am rooting for the Raptors. I am rooting for them to really prove a lot of people wrong, including me, who I've supported them all season, and I took the over on their wins total. I knew they'd be a solid team this year, and everyone was down on them. Nobody cared about them going into the playoffs. No one thought they were going to do anything, and here they are, potentially being able to get to the second round. So, thanks for watching. I will catch you guys on the next one.